Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Well, I'm always on the hunt for good multi-tools, and it doesn't really matter what they are. They can range anything from a little pocket tool all the way up to something as robust as the Leatherman Surge. And most of the time, I'm going to the big four. So Leatherman, Victorinox, SOG, and Gerber. But every once in a while, I'll get in and I'll start looking at some of the off-brand models as well. Now, a lot of those, I've even thought about getting a couple of them as jokes for the channel because some of them are pretty ridiculous. But this one caught my eye. This one is Swiss Tech. This is a little 13-in-1 pocket tool. And there was a number of features on this one that I found very intriguing. And so I decided to pick this one up. And I can't remember exactly what I paid for this. I'm pretty sure it was $18, but I'll have to double check. This tool actually is kind of reminiscent of the Leatherman series of the T-series of tools. And while it doesn't have the same architecture with that magnetic architecture, a lot of the functionality that's in those tools is in this one, but at a much, much cheaper price. Let's get into the Swiss Tech 13-in-1 pocket tool. Let's hop through the specs real quick. So first of all, let me get it lined up here on the grid a little bit better. So this one is 4.5 ounces or 128 grams. So it's actually pretty dense for its overall size. Overall length on this one is 3 3/4 of an inch long or 95 millimeters. 7/8 of an inch wide or 22 millimeters approximately. And then the thickness on this is 5/8 of an inch or approximately 16 millimeters. Now I've got a couple of my Leatherman T-series tools here. So this is the T4, which is, it's got the pocket clip, so it's not wanting to sit down very well. And this is the T2. So as far as size wise, this is it's actually kind of right in between. Because it's not quite as thick as the T4. It's a little heavier than the T4 though. It's more on par with the free T2 as far as functionality. It's got more functions than the T2, and they're not the same. They have some different functionality to this tool. It's kind of the reason why I like it so much. So let's start getting it open. We'll take a look at all the tools, and then we're going to try out a few of them as well, see how well this little Swiss Tech pocket tool holds up. Now, the first thing is the materials on this. The outside, and I believe all the rest of the tools, with the exception of the knife blade, are going to be made out of 3CR13. Everything else, or the knife blade, I'm sorry, is going to be an 8CR13 MOV. So not a bad knife blade. Let's get this. Now, this is kind of, for me, it's kind of the same problem that I have in the T-series. And we're just going to bring the T2 in here as an example. I have to really choke up, and though they are one-hand opening, I find it to be a little bit more difficult for me to get them open. And that really just boils down to the fact that I have a little larger hand. Now, the blade length on this is 2.5 inches, which is quite a bit better than that of the T-series of tools. So the free T2 that we have here, we put it next to it. It's a good 1/2 inch shorter on the blade length. So that's one advantage that it has over the T-series. I got a couple of little material here. Let's bring in, I got a little piece of paracord here. So we'll try it, see how sharp this baby is. And not bad. They put a pretty nice edge on this one. And we got a little bit stronger rope here. Well, if I don't hook it on the back there. And it just gets through there with no problem. Let me grab, if I have some available here, just some scrap paper. So let me double this over. And we'll see how it cuts on paper. Not too bad. It could stand to use a little bit of sharpening, but you can see that it doesn't do a bad job. So I kind of like this blade. I really like the length of that blade for an EDC tool. So everything is locking too on this, and they have a really robust lock on the back side. I love the fact that how this locks in. Now, the next tool, a couple of these are a little difficult to dig out. There's a couple of interesting tools on here that you don't necessarily find in every, especially in a pocket tool like this. So the first one, this is kind of commonplace. You got your a mini screwdriver up front, and then a pretty decent can opener with a nice cut edge on there. So I haven't tried this one out, but I see no reason why that won't work just really, really well. The next one is their Phillips driver, and let me bring that T2 back in here. They have their Phillips driver, which we all know is kind of reminiscent of what you have on a Leatherman Wingman, where this one starts out as a narrow shank here, but they broaden it out to a full dimensional Phillips, which this one works really well. I have tried this on several screws that were dug in pretty deep into wood, and it had no problem both loosening and tightening screws out. So this is built pretty well. The next thing they have on here is they include a wire stripper on here as well. Let me see if I've got some. I got a little piece of 10 gauge here, so we'll try it. I haven't tried this yet. Now, it might be too deep for this, but we'll give it a shot. We'll rotate that around, see if we can't get it to come apart. Well, let me reset. I guess I didn't get it quite cut enough. This might be a little bit too big for this particular wire stripper. No, it did it. So not too bad at all. That's actually kind of impressive that it's able to do that 10 gauge. So I like the functionality of having that wire stripper on there. That's one of the tools that was not necessarily the most common of tools that I liked finding on this particular multi-tool. The next one they include has a little bit larger screwdriver, and then it has a cut hook, which I haven't tried this one yet, so we'll give it a shot. Let's put some of that paracord up here. Now, just a straight pull, it's not really cutting through it. Let me rotate it a little bit. It gets through there okay, so it's decently sharp. And then on the edge here, now this is another thing that I haven't tried. They have a sharpened edge here. Now, it does curve back a little bit though, so I don't know how effective it'll be, but that's meant to be a package opener or a box cutting tool to get through packaging tape. I wish that it wasn't curved like that. I wish it was a straight cut here. I think it would be a little bit better, but it might work just fine. I don't know. The edge is very sharp though, so they've done a nice job on that. The fact that all these are locking is what really, and it locks in really solidly too. I mean, they're in there. There's a little slight rattle to it, a little bit of rock. It's very, very minimal. You kind of notice it on the blade. Let's see if we can. It is super minimal. So they've done actually a pretty decent job on that lock mechanism. Now, the next tool is one. Now, this one did intrigue me a lot. This is their file. Now, this is only a 2-edge file, and it has the combination screwdriver up front, which is done pretty well as well. So it has a cross-cut pattern here. Now, we're going to try this in a minute. But what I really liked about this was the fact that it had a diamond file on it. So they have a diamond embedded file here. I don't know how well the diamond coating is adhered to this, but we're going to try it on some steel here in just a minute and give it a shot and see how well it works. But I love the fact that it has a diamond file on it. The next couple of tools is you have your bottle opener here as part of the little carabiner. And the last is you have a glass break on it too. So this can be used as a bit of an emergency tool. Now, the one thing that I did not care for is the fact that it does not have a way to put a pocket clip on it, because I just really feel like these little pocket tools should have the ability to be to have a pocket clip on them for ease of carry. Now, it's good when you consider against the. Let me get this one folded down again. We'll get all those out. So if we spread out the tools here on the T2, and this is what it's going to basically go up against is the T2, and we get these folded out, you can see that the functionality on here, this one has a lot more functionality than what the T2 does. Now, one thing that is missing that a lot of people would like to see, and I myself would like to see on this tool, is possibly an awl or a pair of scissors. So I would like to see a different version of this that would maybe eliminated the file and put a pair of scissors in. Maybe one that got rid of this tool and put a dedicated awl in. Number of things, but for now, we're just going to concentrate on what they've built so far. So this one offers quite a bit of more functionality than what you get out of the T2. It also has what I consider to be a little better knife blade than what's in the T2 and the T4. Now the T4 is going to have some advantages because it does have a pair of scissors. It has an awl. The screwdriver is kind of inferior to this one. Has your knife blade and it has a little file, but it's not a diamond coated file, as well as the screwdrivers and package opener on this one as well. So, but the price difference is really drastic. $18 compared to, I don't remember what these went for, 60, 50 and 60 or 60 and 70, I don't even remember. I like this tool. I like this tool a lot. Now let's try out that file and see how well that thing works. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot to work with today, but I do have this piece of flat steel, and there's a little bit of a sharp edge that was left on this. We actually did a test on a different file on this same piece of steel, but we're going to try to remove that edge and see how well this file works. So the first one we're going to do is just set it up, and we'll do the crosscut first. And boy, it pulled it right off. Well, no, I take that back. Maybe I didn't have the angle right. It still got a little bit of it. Well, focus. There you go. It still has a little bit of an edge. So let me get a little steeper angle on that, see if I can't get that off with just the regular file. Yeah, it's pulling it off there. So it's doing a pretty decent job. Now, I've seen files that do a little bit better work than this one does. But now let's try that diamond file. I'm really interested to find out whether or not that coating is adhered well. So well, we got it a little dirty, but that coating, I don't see anywhere where that coating has diminished in any way, shape, or form. It's just dirty from the dust off that steel, and it has done a very nice job of smoothing that over. So the file appears to work pretty good. Now that I like a lot. You don't necessarily get a lot of, and especially pocket tools that are going to come included with a diamond file. So this can also work as a great little nail file. Obviously mine's a little dirty, I'll have to clean it up now, but nonetheless, you get the idea. So on the whole, I'm really impressed with this tool. Now, it would be nice if there's a little bit better blade steel, but 8 CR13 MOV is not a bad steel. It's a decent budget steel, and it's comparable to 428C that Leatherman puts in their multi-tools. So it's hard to complain about it too for $18. And I like the drop point on it too. I mean, it's really well done. It came out exceptionally sharp. Considering, I mean, it's actually pretty good. A couple of the tools that I really like, first of all, the full dimensional Phillips is one that I do like. I like the fact that it has the little hook cutter and the package opener. Screwdrivers are kind of a given. I could probably do without the can opener. I would rather have a good awl in place of that can opener because, you know, you just got so many things that have can openers on them. But one thing I do really like about this is that diamond file and the file combination. They seem to work pretty well. The crosscut file could be made just a little bit better, but it doesn't do too bad of a job. The diamond file is actually kind of impressive. I was really thinking that it was really going to pull off the coating off of this, but it seems to have held on there really, really well. So this is the Swiss Tech 13-in-1. I'll leave some links down below if you want to pick this one up. I wish it had a pocket clip. If it had a pocket clip, man, this thing would be awesome. But as it is, they've done a pretty good job on this one. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one.